Jurassic World Dominion. If you're watching this, you've probably seen the film already, but we are still gonna keep this non-spoiler for those of you who haven't yet, that are kind of on the fence as to whether or not you should watch the movie and give your hard-earned money over to this film. If you haven't watched Jurassic World Part 2, don't worry, you can go into this one anyway and it'll catch you up. The beginning of the film does a nice recap on what's going on. I mean, I'd say the first 30 minutes of the film recap the second one.
I actually really enjoyed this film. I want to quote Sam Neill in the movie, "It's not about us." And it's really not. It's not about the humans. Don't worry. I mean, there are some cool bits with the humans. It was fun. But what I enjoyed the most was the freaking dinosaurs. It's like they went, "How many dinosaurs would you like?" And then they went, "Yes." Oh wait, I did that wrong, didn't I? There were so many dinosaurs. So many dinosaurs, and it was so cool. I just really enjoyed seeing the creatures, and I'm not generally someone who really enjoys monster movies, although I'm definitely starting to appreciate them more. It was just so awesome to see these massive creatures on the screen and see them go at each other. At one point, it was like a dinosaur battle royale. Those were the things that I enjoyed the most about this. If you guys get a kick out of the dinosaurs and all of that, then I think you're gonna have fun. Other stuff? I don't know.
A lot of palms.
Whoa, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get her back.
How did you feel, Jaby Koay?
I think I need to watch it again. The theater we were at was IMAX Burbank 16, and man, was that loud.
It was very loud.
So loud that it was uncomfortable, and I wasn't the only one that felt that way because one of my best friends was at the movie, and she had the same complaint. I couldn't tell if I had a lack of enjoyment for the film because of that. There was definitely moments I enjoyed with Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern. Like, it was obviously cool to have them back, and all the callbacks to the first Jurassic Park were pretty neat, and there was a ton of them. Like, there were so many callbacks to the first Jurassic Park. I was like, all right, cool, you're talking to me. And those are the moments I enjoyed more than the cacophony of noise that was all the roars and like destruction and carnage and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some cool moments of carnage and whatnot that was quite enjoyable. The visual effects was nice. It felt like a lot of ideas and they couldn't pick the best ones. Which ideas do you want to use? Yes. And it's like,
that's how you do the joke.
About an hour into the movie, I was like, it feels like this movie's doing way too much. Like, it's got too many characters and too much story that it's trying to hit. There's a scene in the film where this big locust type bug shows up. Okay, just so you can mark it for those of you that haven't seen the film. When that locust bug shows up, I thought that should have been the start of the movie. That's like 30 minutes into the story.
Right,
And it's like, that should have been the very beginning of the story, because if you watch Jurassic Park 1 and 2, it always starts off with this like inciting incident. And that's the inciting incident of the story. Like, really, everything that came before that was just nonsense.
They're just trying to catch us up and like remind us who the characters are and why we should care about them.
When Laura Dern or Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant come into the story, what we find out is, okay, this is a mild spoiler. It's just the beginning of their storyline. Okay, so if you don't want any spoilers at all, just leave. But it's the beginning of their storyline, so I'm not giving away the ending or anything like that. At the beginning of their story, they're not together. Between Jurassic Park and this movie, they somehow separated. Ellie Sattler went off and had a family of her own and left that guy. You can see where this is going, right? She enlists the help of Alan Grant to help her track down some information regarding the locust dinosaur thing. I thought that was a bad move on the part of the writers, personally. I think that they should have already been married and their relationship should have been on the rocks. Like, that whole introduction of them, like, and reestablishing where they are, I'm like, this is taking so long to get started, this movie. It takes forever to get the adventure going. And once it does, it's like, it's splintering off into 18 different directions. I'm like, there are so many stories in this movie.
That is true.
And I'm just waiting to have the team united. And by the time they do, I'm so exhausted by what's been going on. I'm like, I don't even know how much I care anymore. Even after that feeling, there was stuff that I enjoyed, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to come off as this total curmudgeon. But most of what I enjoyed in this story had to do with Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill and their banter. And Jeff Goldblum just felt like kind of a commentary on the Jurassic Park franchise at times.
Yes, very much so.
You know, and I thought everything he did was great. I just wanted more of him. I got more out of their reuniting than I did from Star Wars. I'm happy about that, because when I watched The Force Awakens, I really was hoping that at some point I would get Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia all back together in a single frame again.
Right.
And I never got that because the Disney decided to do its own thing. Here, at least they gave me what I wanted, which is I wanted to see the original trio back together. They had a whole bunch of callbacks that I got that none of the kids fucking don't know what the hell's going on in this movie. There's all kinds of callbacks in the story. Stuff that you've been asking about since the first Jurassic Park, they answered in this film, finally. Kids don't know what that's about, though. They're like, what's that? And they don't explain it. It's like you have to have seen the other Jurassic Park films to fully appreciate this one, at least the first Jurassic Park. You have to have had watched that one to fully appreciate this one. You know, it was cool. It was just like, all right, that was fun, I guess. I don't ever need to watch this again other than to confirm for myself that it really wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been for me.
I think you're right. It was quite messy. And that's the thing. Like, after a while, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to check my brain right now and just enjoy it for what it is. And for that, I did have a lot of fun. Like, I was really engaged with a lot of the chase sequences, and it was really thrilling, like seeing the characters in peril. Our mutual friend who watched it was like, I feel like there was too much peril. I don't know. For me, it was just fine, the amount of peril that they were in. But yeah, this movie is a lot. It's like all the dinosaurs, all the danger.
If you go back and watch the first Jurassic Park and the second Jurassic Park, maybe it's more of a product of its time, and today movies have to be different. I don't know that that's true, though, because like you get films like Dune and Blade Runner 2049, which I didn't like Blade Runner 2049, but I loved Dune. And I loved Arrival. That's so much that it's a poster on my wall. Those are slower films, and people really enjoyed them.
All by the same director.
All by the same director, yeah. They're slower, and people really enjoyed it, right? If you can do that, I don't see why you can't have a Jurassic Park movie today that resembles what they did back in the early 90s. Because Jurassic Park, that first hour, the only action that happens is at the very, very beginning of the movie. And it's not until literally like the 1 hour mark of Jurassic Park that the T-Rex gets out. And like that whole adventure kicks off.
Yeah.
Now, there might have been production reasons why they did that. Like there might have been like just money reasons why they did that, because it's like they're doing something groundbreaking here that has not been done in movies before. It's very expensive, so let's reserve all the dinosaur stuff. I feel like that was a very, very effective way of storytelling. The shark being broken made Jaws a better movie because of the mystery.
Right, it's the suspense of not being able to see the big bad.
Exactly.
But you know it's there.
And in here, they were just constantly flashing dinosaurs in your face all the time throughout the entire movie. And I'm like, there is like no mystery in this film whatsoever.
The little child in me who grew up reading these massive books about dinosaurs and who was obsessed with animals and who loved learning about prehistoric creatures was so happy. I was so happy to see all of them and to see some that I'd never even heard of before. That was really cool.
Well, some of them might be made up.
Oh, yeah.
But
maybe.
I want to talk about one thing that is a spoiler. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, you can bounce, or if you don't give a shit, then you can stay. But I'm going to talk about one spoiler in the film. This is definitely a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear it, this is the only thing I want to talk about from the spoilers. That little girl never apologized. She never apologized. And that pissed me off. I'm like, I wanted to see this girl go like the way Ellie was supposed to go in Last of Us 1. I wanted her brain taken out and her experimented on. I was so mad at her. I was just like, you never apologized for causing this fucking catastrophe. If you had just listened and stayed put, none of this would have happened, or at least not to the level that it did. You made this such a disaster and you never apologized. Not once did you go to Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and say, I'm so sorry for, and then they would have, of course, done the white parent thing and been like, no, it's okay. You made us all better, or whatever that white parents say in the movies, right? Because if it was an Asian parent, they would have been like, yeah, you should have listened.
You suck.
Now you know.
Now you wasted my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Time is money.
So I never got that apology from her, and maybe it's from my Asian upbringing that made me so incensed.
No, I mean, like right from the start when she was being mean to Bryce Dallas Howard, I was like, okay, she's a teenager, but also this is very much a white family dynamic, because if I was that bitchy to my mom, oh boy.
She was basically the Ellie character from Last of Us, right? In so far as like she's like tough, she's kind of tomboyish, she's trying to be on her own and whatever, and
she has the secret.
And she has the secret sauce that they need, right? And at the end of Last of Us, spoiler alert, they were supposed to cut her open and in order to get the secret sauce out. Now, I don't think that's what they were going to do to her here, but I would have been happy if they did, because I was so pissed at her for not apologizing. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic. Anyways, you guys, let us know how you felt about the film in the comments below if you got a chance to see it, and let us know if you hadn't seen it yet and you're watching this anyway, and if we swayed you in any particular direction. More than likely, this wasn't the only review that you watched. More than likely, if you've landed here and you haven't seen the film yet, then you've looked at Rotten Tomatoes and a bunch of other reviews and whatnot. Either way, I'd like to know how our review made you feel in the comments below. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.